everyone, this is Willit the Elf. I was given permission by Willette to go live on their channel to review Glacier Gulch, a roller coaster not too many of you humans know about. So this roller coaster bridges Banff to Jasper in Canada, in Alberta to be specific, in the Rocky Mountains. It follows the terrain very closely, but it's just part of the journey, but that part of the journey makes this the world's largest roller coaster in terms of just the amount of track that it has. So, some stats on it. The drop is 48.5 meters, and it reaches speeds of 107 kilometers per hour. And it has a steepest drop at 66 degrees. We might have a sign on it that says you're going to have a 179-degree drop, but you're not. It's just 66 degrees, which is really steep for the kind of coaster that we're talking about, because we're talking about a coaster by Gravity Group. We're talking about a wooden coaster that they built. And on top of all that, it's 15 kilometers long. So we're talking about a super long coaster with some crazy stats through the mountains. So, how does it actually ride? That is the important question, because as I'm sure some of my coaster friends know, there are roller coasters with impressive stats that do not ride very well, but in the case of Glacier Gulch, the stats suggesting it's the world's best roller coaster do not lie. It is the world's best roller coaster. So, you're going to start with your big drop down the 48.5 meters, reaching speeds of over 100 kilometers per hour, which is really fast for a wooden coaster. And there is no sign of roughness despite it being a wooden coaster that goes that fast. So that's pretty good to see. Then you go into some airtime hills, which, after exploring around here, around here down south, they sort of remind me of the hills you might see on a B&M hypercoaster, going over those. And you do get really good airtime on them, but it's really accentuated by the type of trains that we use on Glacier Gulch. And then, after some giant hills, we have a section that's inside that simulates crossing a frozen lake. We have a backwards section even. It just simulates being on a frozen lake. And really, what this section does is it gives you a lot of laterals, gives you some surprise airtime moments, and you don't know where you're going because we hit it so well in that building that you actually believe you're on the ice. And yes, we were able to do a backwards launch on a wooden coaster. You see that, RMC? We did it. You couldn't, but we did. We as elves were able to build something that does that. And then following that, you go up a few more hills, and then you have a few huge drops. The terrain allows for some big drops coming back. And when you're going over those drops, you get some of the best airtime of the ride. The strongest variety, including the first one being just 3 times down. You're going to go down 3 times without going up to start off. And you're starting at ground level. This thing is just super crazy. So, I did mention that there are some challenges to riding Glacier Gulch, though. So, obviously, it's in Alberta, so that's not the easiest place for coaster enthusiasts to go. Especially after Mindbender got removed. But that's far from the most challenging thing about riding Glacier Gulch. The most challenging thing about riding Glacier Gulch is that you have to believe in it in order to get to ride it. Because if you don't believe in it, you're just going to see train tracks into nothingness, basically, that take a boring straight path. If you believe in it, though, you will see a coaster there, and you will get the best ride of your life on it. So, what do you need to do to show that you believe? Well, one thing you can do is you can have an altar that's dedicated to roller coasters. So, like a witch altar, you can have something like that you have something dedicated to roller coasters, and you will summon Glacier Gulch by doing that eventually. Another thing that you can do, well, just say that you believe it strongly enough, and eventually you will believe it so much that it appears. So that's what you need to do, and of course, the voyage gets a perfect A+, 10 out of 10, whatever your highest rating is. That's what I'm going to give Voyage, but you don't get to ride it if you don't believe in it. That's what I'm going to give Glacier Gulch. I'm sorry, I may have said Voyage, but Voyage is the ride that Willette told me to ride while they were off experiencing Glacier Gulch for the first time. So, I'm going to have to get on Voyage to see how it compares to Glacier Gulch.